I guess I will start by just welcoming those of you that have joined us already. We are going to hear in just a moment from Jonah Espinoza, who will present on his 2025-2026 academic year as a top scholar here at UT San Antonio. After his presentation, we are going to open the floor up to commentary, first from program staff, any comments or questions they may have. We will then open the floor to a wider audience to include all our virtual guests and anyone that may have something to verbally say or list in the chat. So, with that said, I will hand over the mic to Jonah, and I will ask that Jonah, you please proceed and begin when ready.
Thank you for the introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Jonah Espinoza. I'm a UTSA top scholar, and today I'm going to present my end of year report about my third year of undergraduate study at UT San Antonio. But before I begin, I would, of course, like to thank everyone who's here virtually in attendance. My family and I greatly appreciate your interest in what I did this past year, and you're going to hear a lot of thank yous throughout the course of this presentation because there's a lot to be grateful for. But to provide some context on what the UTSA Top Scholar Program is, it's a four-year full-ride merit-based scholarship that revolves around the pillars of leadership, service, and knowledge. And typically, if you all have come to an end-of-year report before, you'll notice that I format my presentation along those three pillars. But this year, I want to do something a little bit different. Instead, I'd like to do kind of a narrative storytelling of what I did these past couple semesters off campus. In addition, I'm going to talk about some other highlights, my future plans, and then, of course, word of the day, words of the day, or thank you. So first, if you all recall, last year for my second end of year report, I presented in San Antonio, Texas. That was because I drove down from Austin, Texas, and that was because I lived and interned full-time in Austin, Texas, specifically in the House Parliamentarian's office. I would like to especially thank Ms. Sharon Carter, who's here today, who's the House Parliamentarian. I worked alongside her, in addition to Mr. Tom Samuels, the Assistant Parliamentarian, Ms. Sarah Johnson, Mr. Hugh Brady, who's special parliamentary counsel to the Speaker's office, and many others who I learned a tremendous amount from. And I'm very grateful for the amount of time and resources and energy they invested in my growth and development and understanding the parliamentary process, in addition to just the general how the Texas legislative body works. For reference, in Texas, for those of you who aren't familiar, they meet for 140 days every other year. And so as you can imagine, it can be a pretty demanding, fast-paced learning environment or work environment. So much so that, for example, my second end of year report was in mid-April, and then that it was in the middle of session. I had about a month left in May, and I actually did some math. So when I looked back at my internship log, I counted out how many hours I had worked in the month of May. And, just as a baseline, assume we work 9 to 5, um, 4 times a week, Monday through Friday, which is a total of 160 hours. I calculated 270 hours worked in the month of May, which averages out to about 9 hours per day, assuming no days off. So it's very demanding, but I absolutely loved it and found it to be so enjoyable. And I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity that was presented to me. Moving on, after working a demanding session, I really emphasized spending time with my family. So my brother last year graduated high school, celebrating him. The picture on the right there is my father and I in front of a Nelson Mandela statue in front of the South African Embassy. As I talked about last year, the visa process to get a study visa for South Africa is interesting to say the least. So because I'm a Texas resident, the embassy that has jurisdiction over Texas is in Washington, D.C. And the way they do things actually is they require an in-person appointment to submit your document applications, your application documents. So I had to fly to Washington, D.C. for a meeting that lasted maybe 8 minutes. But nonetheless, I was determined because I wanted to become the first Espinoza to go to Africa, the African continent. And honestly, looking back, it was very ambitious to go to an entirely different part of the world, brand new hemisphere, brand new continent, not knowing a single person until landing there. A lot of new experiences, and it was quite the adjustment, but I did eventually adjust. And I'd like to reflect on my South African study abroad experience by dividing it into three different components. So the first is academics. Uh, I was a directly enrolled international student at the University of Cape Town, studying South African politics in addition to cooperation and competition, which is basically like a game theory economics course. And in addition to that involvement, I was also a student in the IES Abroad Study Abroad program, which is really like a third party study abroad provider. And the reason picked that specific study abroad provider is because of a really unique course that they offered, which is Inequality and Sustainable Development at Cape Town. They did a really excellent job of providing in-classroom instruction in addition to facilitating uh, outside learning experiences, which they referred to as community-based learning. So I was involved with three different organizations throughout the community of Cape Town. The first being the Sozo Foundation. The Sozo Foundation is an education nonprofit that focuses on serving the community of Vryfrond. That's an Afrikaans word. I'm sorry, I tried my best to pronounce it throughout the semester. I can't say confidently that that was the right way of saying it, but that was my best shot, best try. But it was a really great opportunity. Vryfrond is a beautiful community that unfortunately faces the challenges that stem from the legacy of apartheid. Beth Ariel Home for Boys was a boys' home that I helped tutor the young men there, ages 16 to 24, so just about my age. And it's a really unique opportunity, a unique organization. They focus on helping these young men who come from disadvantaged backgrounds to safely go to school, gain skills for employment. And a really unique thing about them is that you can't age out of the boys' home. The understanding is that it's a transitional period in their life, but they'll never kick anybody out until they're ready to be on their own. And then I also worked with some of the kids there, lovely smiles, at Ahmed Kathrada House. And that was also a really unique opportunity. So there's so many stories here from all these community interactions, all this dialogue. And I really appreciate the way IES Abroad refers to these experiences and that it's a community-based learning opportunity. I don't like to call it volunteerism. I don't like to call it service because yes, the intention was to mentor and tutor these students, but at the same time, I feel like I learned just as much, if not more, from them than than I was ever able to teach them. So it was just really beautiful time to be with these kids and learn from them. I also did a lot of other cool stuff. Again, so many stories with all these pictures, but just some highlights. I ran my first half marathon in South Africa. Also in the general left area there, you'll see a rhino. I went on safari, and that rhino was actually getting ready to charge our vehicle, interestingly. Luckily, it didn't. And then let's see here. Also went to a Travis Scott concert in Johannesburg, South Africa. And unfortunately, my wallet got pickpocketed, so that was not fun, but otherwise the concert was incredible. And yeah, so many cool stories, so many great experiences. I'd like to especially thank the UTSA Top Scholar Program because they fully funded this study abroad opportunity. So I honestly don't think I would have done it without this incredible UTSA Top Scholar Program. Moving on, I came back home for a while. After spending about 132 days in South Africa, not like I was counting or anything, um, but the image to the right is a picture from Mexico where my family and I went on vacation. The middle image is when I turned 21 years old, so I was glad to be home for that historic or milestone. And then I also did a pilgrimage with my mom and Thea. It's a spiritual pilgrimage known as Our Lady of Guadalupe Pilgrimage, and we walked from San Antonio's west side to Helotes, and it was wonderful. The reason I was only home for a while is because then I'm where I'm at now, currently in Washington, D.C., as part of the Archer Fellowship Program as a Spring 2026 Archer Fellow. For context, the Archer Fellowship Program is an initiative by the University of Texas System to have students from all across the state of Texas who are enrolled in a UT institution to live, learn, and intern full-time in the nation's capital. So those bullet points there are all the courses I was enrolled in and taking throughout my semester. And again, so much to share about these courses, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to move on and say that it was a wonderful experience to learn and engage with so many students from across Texas in the classroom. And then my full-time internship. So until I guess since November of 2025, when I found out that I landed this particular internship, I had to vaguely refer to it as a federal government internship. So, but now that it is concluded, I am happy to announce that I was an intern in the Office of the Counselor to the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. Really fancy title, and I can say that it was a incredible opportunity to contribute to such an incredible institution. And you'll see there that was me on the first day of work. It was snowing, and I showed up with no coat, a beanie, and a scarf. So you could tell that I was from Texas, and my supervisor made it an informal requirement that I got a coat as soon as possible. But yeah, that was just a funny story on the first day. Okay, moving on into what I actually did in my internship. I'm going to read from the quotes here because I signed an NDA saying that I wouldn't disclose any non-public information that, that's particular to not just the internship itself, but beyond. And so I'm going to read from what is publicly available on the Supreme Court website about what we do as interns. So first, I conducted background research for briefings provided to guests of the Supreme Court. I drafted correspondence, and then I collected, tracked, and summarized relevant news articles. So what that looked like in practice is my co-intern and I would read the newspaper every single day, and we would summarize, tag, and clip anything that was relevant to the federal judiciary. And then I also assisted in other projects as assigned, which will remain, unfortunately, vague. You'll see that there are 9 justices of the Supreme Court. I had the opportunity to meet 4 of them. And again, for the sake of time, a lot of stories to share, but gonna keep moving. I was fortunate to witness the Supreme Court in action, whether it was going to opinions announced, oral argument, or any other special event. So one historic opinion was Learned Resources Incorporated v. Trump, which is the legalese version of saying the tariff case that was highly publicized once, just a very historic event to witness live with the opinion being announced. And then with oral arguments, I was able to witness United States v. Havani, which is a second rights case, Non v. Al Otro Lado, which is a statutory construction case that deals with immigration policy, essentially. It's a broad generalization, but that's the gist of it. And then Trump v. Barbara, which some may refer to as the birthright citizenship case. That is what is being illustrated to the right there, the right side of the screen, somewhat misleading, but otherwise fairly accurate. You can see there that President Donald J. Trump was in the courtroom, which was historic in of itself because that was the first time a sitting president ever attended oral argument at the Supreme Court. And I can also share that while entering the courtroom, Mr. Trump went down a hallway known as the Marshall's Aisle, which is where I was sitting, and he was pretty much 5 feet in front of me. So I can confirm that he's a real person. Uh, with regards to special events, there were just so many incredible opportunities I was able to help contribute to in terms of hosting guests and also being a part of these special events as well, to be in the room with so many distinguished and incredible people. I don't have any other pictures of my internship, but I do have a badge there that says that I was an intern in the CCJ office. So you all have to believe me now when I'm telling you this thing, because that's my proof there. Okay, other milestones along the way. Some of you all may recall from my first end of year report that I started a Duolingo streak my first year. Initially, it was focused on Japanese, learning Japanese, because I thought I was going to Japan. But once that didn't end up happening, I switched to Spanish, which is particularly relevant, as I will explain later. But that streak is still active. I was also the recipient of the Latino Fund Civic Engagement Scholarship, which is administratively tied to the San Antonio Area Foundation. Now, of course, I have already a full ride as a UTSA top scholar, but I still applied to this scholarship opportunity, particularly because UTSA will still receive that money and it will go to support other scholars who are interested in participating in the Archer Fellowship Program in the future. So that money will still be used to benefit students. I was also appointed December of last year as the mayoral appointee to the City of San Antonio Higher Education Student Advisory Board. Some of you all may recall that I was previously the representative for District 8, which is my home district in San Antonio. But after my term expired, I thought it'd be a great opportunity to apply to the mayoral office, develop a relationship with potentially Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones and especially her staff. Um, some of you all may also recall that I've been working on a year and a half now, I think, long initiative to try to identify barriers to college persistence and attainment in the city of San Antonio. I can say that we have obtained all the survey data and it's statistically valid with demographics being fairly represented. That data has been analyzed and presented to the board. We have recommendations, and the analysis right now is currently going through different city departments to be approved to be publicly shared. So that's something I'm really going to focus on once I'm back in San Antonio, is trying to make sure that that data is uh, widely shared with the community to start a conversation about what we can do to better support higher education students. And the goal also is to present at the Educational Opportunities Committee in front of San Antonio's City Council. And then lastly, as an aspiring law student, it's important that I have a GPA, a good GPA that is, and I am on track to maintain a 4.0. So that's good. Some of you all now may be wondering what comes next this summer. And I'm actually going to chill. I'm going to spend quality time with family and friends, learn how to cook better meals. Because let me tell you, there were some meals in South Africa and DC that were edible, but I wouldn't recommend other people to try it. Going to lift weights. My goal is to read at least 10 books, and I'm going to walk. And the reason I'm going to walk a lot is because from around mid-June through July, I plan to participate in the Camino de Santiago, which is basically a pilgrimage across Spain. I was recommended to do the Camino de Frances, which is the French way, the French Camino, which is roughly about 500 miles walking across Spain. I'd like to shout out Dr. Nathan Richardson from the great UTSA Honors College who introduced this idea to me. He's a big advocate of walking the Camino, so much so that he actually wrote a book about it that I'm going to intensely read once I get back to San Antonio and study. But yes, it's going to be challenging, but I feel like that's part of the interest, and it'll also be another great story to share. Okay. Finally, two words of the day. Thank you, and thank you. There are many people here who are here virtually and many others who are unable to attend, but have nonetheless tremendously shaped me personally, academically, professionally, or all the above. And it's been a tradition every year that I recognize people, starting with year one, who have tremendously shaped my career trajectory thus far. This is year two, and there's so much to be grateful for. I really see these presentations. I don't like to focus always about me because clearly there are a lot of people involved who invest so much time, energy, and resources, who believe in me and who want to see me succeed. And this is my way of kind of showing myself off, but also saying thank you, because none of this would be possible without everyone mentioned here who have shaped, my journey thus far in some shape or form. So thank you. This is my final slide. With that, I can open it up to any comments, questions, or perhaps concerns people may have. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Jonah. That was a fantastic presentation. I loved hearing all about your year and the various things that, like with Patrick, have kept you away from our campus physically, but we know you are doing so much good. And I think it is also a testament to just the strength of the work that you do that in our audience today, I see several familiar names, current scholars, alums, our friends from the Archer Center in Washington, a few other individuals that are friends of this program. And so, job well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will just echo what uh, George does. Very, very well done. We're looking forward to having you back on campus. And I know it's been a long year for you, but I think it's been a good year, and you'll, look back and see that this was an incredible time of growth in terms of both adding to your professional skill set as well as just kind of who you are as a human. So good job.
Thank you.
Joan, I would just echo everyone's comments. I'm just completely in awe of everything you've done this past year. You really represent the students that we're so proud of at UT System. And so I know in everything you've taken on, it's just wonderful knowing that there are people who are meeting you, who know that you are a UTSA student, more importantly you're leading in a way that UT System is just extremely proud. So, congrats to you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Dr. Hall, as well, for being here.
I'm Addie. I'm one of Jonah's supervisors at the court. His other one was unable to be here today, but I just want to pass along that, as you all know, it seems like Jonah is the best, and we were so lucky to have him. So thank you, San Antonio, for letting him be here this semester and be such an amazing intern. We are so proud of him, and we know he has a bright future ahead of him. So thank you to Jonah's academic support system, friend support system, family support system, because truly just such a privilege and an honor to get to work with Jonah this past semester.
Thank you, Addie, for coming.
Hey,
Any other
Jonah, this is Carol. Carol Harrell, can you hear me? I'm sorry, I'm on my
Yes,
way to Houston.
but please drive safely.
I am sitting here. I am just sitting here glowing. I still remember seeing that PowerPoint of you as I believe you were a 5-year-old kid dressed up for Halloween as a lawyer, wearing a suit and carrying a briefcase. And I've just I that young boy is now the most incredible human being. I'm so proud of you, and just keep going, and you inspire me every day. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Safe travels.
Of course. Thanks.
All right. We have some comments in the chat that I will read aloud. Fernando Cordova, our friend of honors as well, says, "Wow, Jonah, you are awesome too. Congrats on a very successful year. He's proud of you."
Thank you.
Our counseling director, Allegra Lozano, mentions, "Congratulations, Jonah. Such amazing stories of experiences full of courage, growth, and opportunities. I look forward to seeing all the things yet to come." Miss Christine Washington, all wonderful, wishing you only the very best always. You are a rock star. From Miss Foster, "My only concern is that we don't see you enough. You're humble and amazing in all you do, and that will take you so far." Michelle, who's joining via iPhone, says, "Congratulations. You continue to do amazing things. Continue your great journey."
Thank you.
Dr. Carol Harl says, "So incredibly proud of you. Would love to walk and talk with you on how PK through 12 can learn and possibly apply your higher ed findings." Sharon Carter says, "Congratulations, Jonah. What an impressive report. I feel privileged to be part of your journey."
Thank you,
Nina,
Miss Carter.
Nina says, "Jonah, I have so much to say. I'm so impressed. Thank you for all you do. I will connect with you after." Our friend and program alum, Margot Duque, says, "You are amazing, Jonah." From Patrick, "Such a cool
Thank you,
year,
Margaret.
Jonah. You are a legend. I can't wait to ask more questions about these experiences." And then Dr. Derek O'Leary is mentioned, "Thanks for contributing to the Archer Center this semester, Jonah." From
Thank you,
Alvin,
Dr. Lee.
"Wow, this is insane. Although I haven't had the honor to meet you yet, this is incredible to see all you are doing. You are a legend at Top Scholar academically and on Top Ballers." From
Thank you,
Ho
Alvin.
from Jose, Jose says, "Congratulations, Jonah. It's awesome to see the growth you have and that you are still the driven young man that I have grown to know from our time together at UT San Antonio. I am so impressed." And
Thank you.
And finally, Dexter Mason says, "We are so proud of you. Keep continuing to create those intentional moments with your loved ones. And it is also not lost on me what Assistant Dean Meyer had mentioned early on, that only someone like you would call walking the Camino de Santiago in the summer chilling. So, um, job well done, Jonah. We cannot wait to
Thank
see
you.
you again.
Thank you all for being here. Appreciate your time. Thank you, Mr. Medlock. Thank you, Mr. Mason.
Fantastic. We are going to then formally conclude this presentation. It was great hearing from you, Jonah, and it was great seeing so many friendly faces in the chat. This concludes this morning's presentations for the Top Scholar program. Our next presentation will be at 12 o'clock noon Central Time, when we will hear from Mackenzie Vargas LeBron. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, everybody.